Hello. My name is Gregory Jovanov. I'm professor of innovation and entrepreneurship at Athens Formation Technology, a member of the Coralia Clusters Initiative, and I have been involved with the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in Greece, but also in Silicon Valley for many years now. I started my career as a research scientist at Hewlett Packard Labs and Eastman Kodak, work in Silicon Valley in transferring technology to the industrial world. And I have worked as a co-founder and key key personnel of two startups in Silicon Valley back in the 90s. Since 2002, I'm here. I'm with AIT, working on new technologies in the area of information computing and telecommunication, as well as the innovation, the management, strategic management of innovation and entrepreneurship. So today, I'm here to talk about fundraising for startups, and the agenda of our talk the agenda of our talk today will be starting off with we'll be starting off with an introduction to entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship and what are the key characteristics of entrepreneurs? We'll refer to the work of Guy Kawasaki and the art of the start, as well as the role that the business model and the business plan play in raising funds. And then we'll focus on the fundraising activity for startups, covering VC funds and crowdfunding, and a little bit about the deal with the VC. So, what is a little bit on entrepreneurship? Creating a business out of innovation. What is entrepreneurship? The pursuit of opportunity without regard to the resources under one's control. Usually it's a very personal game. However, successful entrepreneurship is most often a team sport. Now, it pays to recall that no matter how big companies are today, they all started at some point back in time as a startup. So we have most of them started out of a garage, and and with very little resources under their control. So here's a picture of Jeff Bezos back in 1996, I believe it's the picture, and when Amazon was just a startup. So they all started little startups, but through fundraising they become successful. And here's a picture of some what is called unicorns, startups which have been valued at more than $1 billion in their current valuation. Unicorns in all aspects of in different sectors and spread all over the world, with the likes of Spotify, Sweden, or Airbnb and Uber from the US, or Xiaomi, China. So let's go through the process, how a startup can turn out being one of the unicorns of the future. And it all starts with a new business model and the business plan. But a little bit on the definition of what is, since we'll be talking about venture capital, what is a venture? And the venturing process, the process of refers to the process of attracting, organizing, and rewarding resources to turn an idea into a market reality. That process involves creating and growing a new enterprise to execute the tasks needed to launch and grow a new product or service into the market, as well as structuring a system for rewarding the participants who enter at different stages, and we'll see who the participants are and at which stages will be entering into the process. So that's venturing. Now, how about the process of setting up a startup, launching a startup? The typical stages in the new venture creation start with an idea, a bright idea from the co-founders of the startup, usually discussed over at the kitchen table, the proverbial back of the napkin drawings, and then comes founder's commitment. The commitment has to pull out from his 9-to-5 job, because running a startup is a full-time job and should be treated as such. Then the next stage is the development of a business model and the business plan, filling the management team, raising the seed capital, a few tens of thousands of euros, closing the capital and incorporating the startup, and finally finding a new home for the startup to get started. So that's the period of the new startup creation that we'll be covering through our talk today. And however, in terms of fundraising, there are subsequent rounds of funding that a startup needs to go through, and which come into in rounds of financing, as they call Series A, Series B, and so on and so forth, until the point when the startup gets to the stock market through an initial public offering, an IPO, or through other means of exit, is being acquired or merges with a larger company. So that's the process that we'll be covering today. But let's take now a look at who are the people who launch the startups, who are the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneur, by definition, is a dynamic person who gets the right people together to make something happen. And entrepreneurs like Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who started Google back in 1999, or Pierre Omidyar, the founder of eBay, an early startupper in the dot-com era. So these are the entrepreneurs. But which are the characteristics of these people? So if we see, we refer to the literature, the 5 characteristics of every entrepreneur are passion, perseverance, resourcefulness, open-mindedness, and sponge-like nature, a curious mind. So, but the most important of them all, of all these traits, as the late Steve Jobs once quoted saying, is perseverance. As Steve said back in the mid-2000, I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. So we have, as startuppers, we need to keep on going and never give up. As Winston Churchill said, success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And that's the main motto of an innovator. I succeed or I learn, but I never fail. And as we'll see, most entrepreneurs have gone through many rounds of failure, getting up, getting started again, and going back and trying once more until they hit their first big success, as Mark Zuckerberg did with the Facebook, or Richard Branson Branson with the various the brand, the Virgin brand, or Bill Gates with early on with Microsoft. And once they do that, they get to do that, they keep on doing that. So entrepreneurs are usually serial entrepreneurs, are people who start over and over again, starting new companies all the time. And that's a process. So that becomes a habit, as we'll see. So let's go and see what it takes to start a successful enterprise, a successful startup. What we need early on is to develop the right business model. The business model which answers to the fundamental question, where is the money? Okay, so as Steve Blank, an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur himself, an academic, has said, a business model describes how a company creates, delivers, and captures value. And it's an important tool in raising money. So, what is the business model? A business model is the business logic of how a company makes money in a sustainable way. So it consists of 5 constructs. It answers to what we're offering, our value proposition, for whom, our target customers, how, through which value configurations or partnerships, and how much it costs, how much it costs for us to offer this product or service, and how we expect to make money, through which revenue sources. So a popular construct, a popular framework that is used extensively widely today is the business model canvas, introduced by Alex Osterwalder, consisting of 9 elements: the value proposition, customer segments, key partners, the cost structure, revenue streams, as well as the key activities and key resources that we need to hold on to or perform in order to offer our value proposition through our channels to the target customers. So that's the business model canvas that describes a business model that we are using in order to compete successfully in a given market. And the business model now is described, it is written down into the business plan. So the business plan, the essence of the business plan, is a document that defines our value proposition, as well as our execution strategy in order to realize the value proposition, defines and describes the management team, which is best positioned to execute our strategy, and the projections, financial projections, as well as the timeline for delivering the value to our customers, the resource requirements in the process to achieve the projected results, and any risk-related risk and mitigation plan for dealing with unexpected risks. How to write a business plan is the content, is the topic of several seminars all around the world. One of the most well-known seminars or courses on writing business plan is the nuts and bolts of the business plan, delivered by Joe Hajima at the MIT. And so through the open course where you can find more information on how to write a successful business plan. And the business plan consists of the mission and vision statement. An executive summary is the full business plan consists of approximately 20 to 30 pages and is combining by a PowerPoint presentation which will be delivered in 10 to 15 minutes. Now, the most important part of the business plan, though, and the elements of the business plans, this is an outline, a table of content for a typical business plan, consists of the executive summary, the opportunity, the pain and gain, the opportunity and offering, market and competitive analysis, the business strategy and key milestones on the road to delivering the product or service to the customer, marketing plan, design and development plan, manufacturing and operation plan, a few words about the management team, schedule, critical risk, problems and sanctions, and finally the financial plan. So, notice that technology is not a section, since technology is to be mature enough, being able to deliver a new product or a new service to the market. Now, the most important part of the plan is the executive summary. And that, because that's most likely what people will only read out of your plan before they ask you to come in for a presentation where you have about half an hour to display your plan in a face-to-face meeting with a prospective VC, venture capitalist, who is interested in investing in your plan. So, the executive summary, assume a 5-minute reader, therefore no more than 2 to 3 pages long, and it should be in a standalone mini plan. The most critical paragraph, the pain, and how the pain is going to be cured, the gain. So, that's what describes your value proposition. Now, there are online resources that will help you to write a successful business plan and run the bplans.com has templates, ready-made templates that will help you in drafting a successful business plan. So now you've done your homework, you have a business model, you have described that, you have written down your business model, you have described that in a business plan, and we are ready now to sell your idea, your bright idea about this phenomenal new product or service to prospective investors who will share the risk of financing your idea, financing your startup that will help turn your idea into a business, into a market reality. So, how are you going to do that? And here there are several resources that will help you to pitch your idea to prospective investors. One of the earliest books and a de facto standards in the whenever since it appeared back in 2004 is The Art of the Start by Guy Kawasaki, which has a newer version, the 2.0 now, published back in 2015, featuring new insights, new insights and practical advice about social media, crowdfunding, but also cloud computing and fundraising. So, who is Guy Kawasaki? He's a Silicon Valley marketing executive, currently the chief evangelist of Canva, an Apple employee responsible for marketing the Macintosh. Back in 1984, the guy who coined the term evangelist in marketing the Macintosh. He's the co-founder of a VC fund, thegarage.com, now going by the name Garage Technology Ventures, a venture capital firm for early-stage technology companies in Silicon Valley. One of the key advices in The Art of the Start by Guy Kawasaki is the 10-20-30 rule. and that refers to your pitch. So your pitch, selling your idea, your project, your idea for starting a company to materialize your bright idea into a product or a service, should consist of 10 slides that should be delivered in 20 minutes using 30-point fonts or larger. So that's the point. Stick to that. No more than 10 slides. So the 10 slides should describe the problem that you are solving, your solution, the game, your business model, the underlying magic that makes your value proposition unique. Could be a patent technology, could be something, a unique resource that you are holding on to. Your marketing and sales plan, a description of the competition and how your what's your plan for facing off the competition, the team, projections and milestones, as well as the status, where you stand right now, what we have accomplished, what is the next milestone, and why you're asking for money, what you are planning to do, how you're gonna spend the money in your attempt to meet your milestones. If you need some help in preparing your pitch before a live audience, you better go through the presentation zen.com, a site by Gar Reynolds, who gives some tips about delivering some very powerful pitches. And now you got a plan, you have the model, you got the business plan, you have a very nicely drafted PowerPoint presentation. What can you do with that? The first thing that you should be doing is go through a business plan competition to test your idea in real life. One of the most famous business plan competitions is the MIT, now called 100K Entrepreneurship Competition, a competition that was launched in 1990, originally as the 10K competition, when the MIT Entrepreneurs Club and the Sloan New Ventures Association teamed up to create a competition that would take advantage of the winning combination of engineers and business students in launching successful startups or as spin-offs or spin-outs of the MIT. That has resulted in many very successful companies, this process. Some familiar names. Akamai is a company that went through this MIT 100K competition and succeeded in raising some seed money to launch the company. So, a variant of this MIT competition, 100K business plan competition, is the MIT Enterprise Forum Global, a global network devoted to enabling early-stage entrepreneurs to transform ideas into world-changing companies. And the local branch of MIT Enterprise Forum, at least here in Greece, is the MIT EF Greece Startup Competition, holds competitions, annual competitions now, is being through the fourth year of its competition event, and the list of the winners of the 2016 is Yodivo, Incibio, and Sentio. Some of them are members of the Coralia Cluster Initiative. And once you go through this business plan competition, you validate your idea as a valid and sound business idea. Then the next thing that you should be doing is go through an incubator or accelerator. Many successful ones, Venture Spur, Y Combinator. This is an example of the services that you'll get through by going through this incubator or accelerator process. And this is an example of a thematic one in Portugal on travel and tourism startup accelerator, which helps you with your business model, your knowing your customer, create your value proposition, models for generating revenue, producing value, and also they help you make your pitch more impactful. So other very well-known accelerators, the Port Excel, another thematic one for the blue economy in the port of Rotterdam, and we'll have also here in Greece we have the egg, which is run by Coralia and Eurobank. There is a list of the best accelerators globally, published on an annual basis, and so you can go through and find some successful incubators or accelerators to aim at to go through. But now, going back to our topic, the main topic of our talk today, raising funds. Why you need to raise funds? Because fundraising is a key part of setting up and starting your startup, and it helps you through the raised funds. You can finance your commercial development, your team development, and product development. So, what are your options for as an early stage entrepreneurship or newly launched startup to raise funds? First of all, you can use your own savings, your bank account, funds from friends and family. They were known 3Fs, funds, friends and family funds, or friends, family and fools. The debt and bank loan, you can get a bank loan. You can go through organic growth, bootstrapping your startup, using some grants from national or international research grants like the Horizon 2020 research program, currently undergoing in Europe, or going through entrepreneurship competitions like the MIT 100K that will help you raise seed money to get to launch your startup. But the real money to finance your startup will come through venture capital, private equity funds, corporate venture capital, and hopefully at some point in time you'll reach the point where you'll go public and you'll get money to accelerate your growth through an initial public offering. What are the type of amounts that you can ask through the various rounds of financing? In the seed stage, typical amounts are ranging from a few $100,000 or dollars to $1 million. And that helps you to set up the startup, filling the team, do your initial stage of product development, and develop a good business model and business plan. And then comes the Series A, which usually covers 2 to 5 million in financing, and that will help you to take your product just to the point where it is market ready, a little bit before you get it to the market. And once you are ready to hit the market, then typically we will need to raise another 10 to 20 million. giving up approximately 50% of your equity at that point. That will take you for, it will cover your expenses during the first year of being in the market. So it's the point where your business, you're building a real business. And then when you're ready to hit the global market, then it's not untypical. It's very common to raise another 20 to 100 million to hit the global market, and that will make you probably will get you well into the road to becoming the next unicorn with a valuation of more than 1 billion. So let's see some of the venture capital funds that you can send your business plan and ask for money. Well-known ones, DFJ, the Garants, Technology Ventures, the KPCB, Palo Alto Ventures, Sun Hill Capital, Sequoia are all well-known VC funds in California. There are corporate venture funds like the Intel Capital and also corporate run incubators. If you want to find out more information about available funds, you can refer to vfinance.com. That has a lot of information on VC funds. There are also associations, local or regional associations like the European, what used to be called EVCA, European Venture Capital Association, now goes by the name of Invest in Europe, the US National VC Association, British, the Swedish, or even Hellenic VC Association, the Invest Europe is the new, the rebranded version of EVCA since 2015. Has a lot of material on funds raised in EU, as well as the resources where you can refer to in order to send your business plan asking for money. Now, some of Europe's top VC funds by country. Spain and Greece, we have the PJ Catalyst, is the local Globe in the UK, or one very well-known one is Atomico, founded by Niklas Zennström, the co-founder of Skype, who has recently raised $765 million to invest in European startups. Now, how much money these VCs invest in startups on a basis? Through a report by CB Insights and in collaboration with PricewaterhouseCoopers, we find out that in 2017, the global VC funds was $164 billion invested globally, out of which 71.9 billion was invested in US companies. Now, a big part of VC nowadays goes to Chinese tech giants, and in 2017, 58 billion US dollars was invested in companies in that part of the world, in China, Singapore, and South Korea mainly. So that's one avenue for raising money through VCs. Now, but in our age of open innovation, there are other means of raising money, and that's one very interesting way of raising money as a startup is through crowdfunding. There are reports on crowdfunding. In 2015, through crowdfunding, there were raised $34.4 billion, and it was expected that in 2016, the funding through the crowdfunding in the US at least would surpass the traditional VC funding. Some of the names, some of the crowdfunding platforms here in our part of the world, in Europe, funded by me, Crowdcube, and Companisto. Now, the global crowdfunding, as we said, is expected has surpassed the traditional VC funding since 2016, and some popular crowdfunding platforms, Kickstarter and Indiegogo, which offer different terms for conducting for a crowdfunding campaign over these platforms. Now, other ways of raising funds or helping getting started. One is, one of the most well-known examples of crowdfunding successes is that of Oculus. Oculus now acquired by Facebook in 2014 for $2 billion. That was about 18 months after having completed a very successful crowdfunding campaign over the Kickstarter platform, which while they were asking for $250K through their campaign, they over the period of the campaign, Oculus finally raised 2.4 million, and that helped them grow fast enough to get acquired by Facebook after a year and a half or $2 billion. Other means of raising funds, now if you're looking for smaller amounts, or if you are a social enterprise, there is another platform for microfinancing, especially in developing parts of the world, and Kiva is one very popular microfinancing platform that one can use to raise funds in these parts of the world. Now, what if you have an idea and you don't want to launch your own startup, but you want to see your idea implemented? So say that you have an idea about the new Lego game. What you can do, you can go to Lego Kuzo platform, propose your idea, and then if that idea is pretty popular, Lego will undertake the task of turning your idea into a product, into a new game, into a new toy by Lego, and they will share some of the profits of this product with you. Similarly, Quirky is another platform that undertakes the task of turning a person's idea into a product, provided that this idea is again pretty popular, it allures to the community, the Quirky community, which will vote based on which ideas the platform should undertake the task of turning them into real products. And finally, in some other means for getting help in starting your company, I would refer to corporate platforms that are like Microsoft BizSpark, that offers provides startups with resources in terms of cloud computing services for a period of 1 or 2 years free of charge. So these are some helpful ways of financing eventually your startup. So going back to traditional VC, the VC deal, we said that the means of funding for the means of funding our startup, we have our own funds, friends and family. Asking friends and family, is that a good idea? Not really, because you should keep in mind that the odds of success in this business, the startup business, are very slim. So only 1 in 20 companies will eventually survive, startup companies. So imagine having when things are going south, when the floor is slipping under your feet, the least that you wanna see is you wanna have in mind is to deal with a somehow unhappy relative. So it's better to stay off friends or family funds. Debt and bank loan, they require some collaterals. Bootstrapping takes a lot of time. So what is left with, you're left with are traditional VC, venture capital and equity, private equity funds like angel investors, venture capitals, corporate capital, and the money and the success and the support that we are getting through incubators and accelerators, collectively known as smart money. And why is that? Because on top of cash, what you are getting through these channels is management support, support in hitting the global market, strategic guidance, and as well as economic credibility, because these are professionals, investors, and having done the due diligence and having decided to support you is a big help for you in raising money through other means as well. So what is required to get a VC financing? A convincing business model and a business case. Management in place, experienced management, and a well thought of and well drafted business plan, including budgets with emphasis on the market, competition, and the distribution channels, and also the magic and the secret magic, the technology, how your technology is protected. What is that makes you unique? How you can defend your position in the marketplace. So the most important thing is, before you start writing the business plan, is to spend a lot of time calibrating and developing your business model. And that's what, again, Steve Blank says. Business plan, quoting from Steve Blank, is a document investors make you write that they don't read. It's required to address a VC, but the VC will read your executive summary and then they will call you in to discuss with them the details of your business model and your business plan. And if your business plan is not so well tuned, they will sit with you, provided that they are interested in your idea and your team, to fine-tune your business model and your business plan. And most importantly, no business plan survives first contact with the customers. As once quoted by Vinod Khosla in an interview with the Huffington Post back in 2016, everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth, said once Mike Tyson said. And that's when you hit the market, things are all in the air. Your business model needs to be calibrated, and you need to be flexible enough to face off all the competition that comes once you hit the market. So, a few words about going back to how you deal with real VCs. In the business plan, prerequisite, even though they probably won't read it so carefully. It should be brief, explain your problem market needs succinctly, your value proposition, your team's expertise, successes, failures, what makes you so an expert in this particular niche market that you are addressing. A good description of the business potential and the size of the opportunity, the market size, how fast you will scale up, and what's your timeline with the deliverables, how you can defend your product, how you can protect it from the competition, and write that in plain English. So what this is always wanted, a good combination of market, people, and technology. Because what will mean for them if you have a great team and a great know-how, technology know-how, with a very swing market prospect, or great people in a market with poor technology. So you need the right combination of all three H's. Market potential, great team, and a great technology. So the role of the VC, as we said, in this development, early stages of your startup, a VC can eliminate the market risk, the operational risk, and the execution risk. There are pros and cons of working with or getting money through a VC. The main advantage is you can achieve much faster growth than any other way of getting finance. Higher credibility, you can get management support if you're missing a CFO, let's say, when time comes to go through an IPO, your main VC will step in and find the right person for you. Access to the VC's network, performance pressure, improved control, increased exposure through their network, and help with developing your distribution channels. But at the same time, you're faced with dilution of equity. That's for a fact. You're giving up part of your company. You lose your independence, confidentiality. It's difficult once you have an investor on board, it's difficult to work with other investors. And they come with some terms and conditions. But in summary, fundraising is key to survival and success for your startup. The funding options, friends and family, bootstrapping, crowdfunding, and more importantly, venture capital funds. The ups and downs of working with VCs, they provide you with strong market knowledge and company building experience. Recall that these people are usually experienced, they have started, they have launched several startups themselves, the people who are running the funds, the VC funds, so they are truly experts in the business. But money is more expensive than other sources, and you have to give up part of your company. But it's worth the money. It's worth the money to get it from a VC. And the whole process of launching a startup is a very exciting one. And it's always a good time to launch a startup. So in closing, I leave you with the saying by Bill Gross, the founder and CEO of famous incubator, the Idea Lab. there has never been a better time in history to start a company, and that goes for any time. So it's the time is now. Go out and launch your startup. Thank you very much. That concludes my talk. My contact details are here. If you have any question or if I can be of any help in your attempt to raise funds, let me know and I'll be glad to help. Thank you. Oops.